What if oxygen level doubled? Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world where oxygen is twice as abundant as today. Every breath feels lighter, fresher, almost intoxicating. But what seems like a gift could turn into a global disaster. This is the scenario we'll explore. A planet with double the oxygen level. It sounds like paradise for humans, but reality is far more complex. From massive wildfires to mutated life, the consequences are mind-blowing. First, let's start with humans. With double oxygen, your body would feel supercharged. Athletic performance would skyrocket, and even ordinary people could run faster, longer, and stronger. Climbers could conquer high peaks without oxygen tanks. Children would grow with more energy, and healing from injuries might be quicker. It might feel like we've entered a superhero era. But there's a dark side. Too much oxygen is toxic for human cells. It can damage our lungs, brain, and even shorten lifespans. Premature aging could become the norm. Cells exposed to excess oxygen produce harmful free radicals. So while you might feel stronger at first, your body would wear out faster. Imagine fire in this high oxygen world. A single spark could ignite forests in seconds. Fires would burn hotter, faster, and nearly impossible to control. Homes, cities, and entire regions could be consumed. Firefighting as we know it would be useless. Civilization would need entirely new ways to survive flames. Ecosystems would also change dramatically. Insects, for example, would thrive in high oxygen. They would grow to enormous sizes, just like in prehistoric times. Picture dragonflies the size of seagulls buzzing over lakes. Mosquitoes could become terrifying predators. Our relationship with insects would be completely rewritten. Animals, too, would evolve differently. Mammals could grow larger, fueled by richer oxygen intake. Predators would become faster and more powerful, reshaping the food chain. But smaller species might suffer. Their metabolisms could become overwhelmed by too much oxygen. Extinction waves could ripple through ecosystems. Plants would initially flourish with abundant oxygen. Forests might grow denser and more vibrant. But the increased risk of fire would constantly reset ecosystems. The oceans wouldn't escape this change either. Marine animals like fish would absorb more oxygen, possibly growing much larger. But delicate coral reefs might collapse from oxidative stress. Geology would also be affected. High oxygen levels mean even buried organic material burns easier. Volcanic eruptions could become far more explosive. Human technology would need to adapt. Engines would run hotter, explosions more powerful, and factories more dangerous. Industries would constantly battle the threat of fire and corrosion. Societies might evolve to live in specialized, fire-resistant cities. Buildings would be designed with non-flammable materials. Even cooking food would require new methods to prevent kitchen infernos. Religions, myths, and culture would also transform. Fire would no longer be seen as a tool, but as humanity's greatest enemy. Perhaps entire civilizations would worship water as the savior. Global climate would also shift. Wildfires release massive carbon emissions, heating the planet. Ironically, more oxygen could accelerate climate change. This world would be both fascinating and terrifying. A place of giant creatures, superhuman strength, and constant danger. A place where survival depends on mastering fire like never before. So next time you take a breath, remember the balance of oxygen we live in. Too little, and life suffocates. Too much, and the earth itself burns alive. But let's look deeper into history. Hundreds of millions of years ago, oxygen levels were indeed higher than today. That's when giant insects and massive forests thrived across the planet. Fossil evidence shows dragonflies with wingspans as wide as hawks. Millipedes grew longer than humans. Earth was once a world ruled by oversized creatures. If oxygen doubled today, we might relive those ancient times. Modern ecosystems would collapse under the weight of oversized predators. Biodiversity as we know it would be rewritten. Human warfare would also change. With oxygen-rich air, explosions would be far more devastating. Weapons would burn brighter, louder, and deadlier. Even simple campfires would be dangerous. A cooking fire could easily spread into a raging inferno. Daily life would be lived under the constant fear of flames. Medicine would also need to adapt. Doctors would face new challenges with oxygen toxicity. Hospitals might rely on controlled chambers with reduced oxygen to treat patients. Space exploration could benefit. Astronauts could train in high-oxygen environments to test human endurance. But too much exposure would still be dangerous even for them. The economy would shift drastically. Entire industries would rise around fire prevention and oxygen control. Water, sand, and even fireproof fabrics would become as valuable as gold. In the end, this oxygen-rich world teaches us a lesson. Balance is the key to life. Too much of even a good thing can destroy everything we love. So imagine Earth breathing heavier, its air thick with energy and fire. It would be a place of wonder, but also of constant fear. A reminder that our fragile balance of oxygen is what truly keeps life alive.